We're going to get started with the business portion of our luncheon. I want to welcome all of you to our luncheon this afternoon, and hopefully you had a good and decent lunch and well-nourished. My name is Juan Thomas, Chair of the ABA Civil Rights and Social Justice Section. It's my honor to welcome you to our luncheon this afternoon. And I have the responsibility to give a report to you as to the work of our section this bar year. There's a link in our agenda that will give you a bullet point list of our activities of the year, but I really want to talk more broadly about this year. As many of you know, and most of you know, the theme of this bar year that I asked us to focus on was economic justice. I asked you to focus on that because I believe that economic justice is a critical component of our civil rights and social justice agenda. I read a quote that I have used often over the last year that I simply say that a civil rights agenda without an economic agenda is like trying to clap with one hand. And so I tried to lift up throughout this bar year the economic justice questions in the context of our broader civil rights issues. And so one issue that we have been dealing with obviously this year as a result of the Dobbs decision is the economic question around birthing people who can't leave their state or can't travel across state lines to get reproductive health care services because they don't have the money. They don't have the economic resources. That's the economic justice question in the context of that broader issue of abortion rights. And so we focused on those type of questions throughout the year. We had a tremendous economic justice summit at Georgetown Law Center back in March. I want to thank, and we'll thank more formally in a few minutes, the Economic Justice Committee for their work in that regard. But this year was really to focus on those type of questions. And I think it's important that as a chair and future chairs that we talk about issues not just broadly, but also specifically, because we work on so many different issues. We have 21 substantive working committees. And any given day, a hot topic, a hot issue will pop up or become the leading issue because of the news or the events of the day. And so you can't run for re-election in this job, but if we did, I'd probably want to focus on DEI issues next year in light of what happened with the issue around affirmative action and how that's been dismantled. And also how messaging has changed. One thing that I want to share with you is one of my core beliefs is we have to be very careful about messaging. And oftentimes those of us who are on the progressive side of the aisle, we lose the messaging conversation to our colleagues on the other side because they're very good at messaging. And they're very good at taking language that seems neutral but has deep racial and systemic oppressive implications. So now colorblind society is being used by our Supreme Court. For me, colorblind society really means systemic racism and white supremacy. But they don't say white supremacy or white privilege, they say colorblind society. They talk about voter integrity. Well, that sounds real good. We all support voter integrity. But what they really mean is voter suppression. And so I think moving forward, we as a section and those of us who work on civil rights and social justice issues have to be very careful about not letting them steal language that sounds inclusive, but has deep racial and systemic oppressive intent. And so this year, we've had a good year. This year, we've had a successful year. I'm very proud of the work that all of you did. I'm very proud of the work of our executive committee, our council, all of our committees. I'm so grateful for the support you gave me this year by supporting our weekly chair chats. We asked each committee to take a week and either own that week by selecting a speaker or helping us find someone to speak on a topic related to your committee work. And almost all the committees did that work and helped us put on a successful chair chat. We had 51 chair chats have been scheduled and were successful. Only 1 week did the speaker not show up, and to make up for that, we're doing a bonus chair chat later this month. So we were going to hit our 52 mark. And I want to thank all of you for supporting that effort. I also want to thank the work we did around the Perfecting Democracy project. That was critically important. Elections have consequences. I think we all know that. And I can't wait to see Robin and Lacey in particular, because they'll be chair during the 2024 election season, how we continue that work and how critically important that work is for lawyers to be engaged in making sure that we protect our democracy. I touched upon that last night, but I see nothing more critically important than the important work that we do to support and to protect our democracy. Nothing else matters if our democracy is not foundationally protected and secured. Voting rights, abortion rights, education, immigration policy, none of that matters if our democracy is not secure. And so I continue to hope and to pray that this section will be a leading voice in that regard, that we will continue to be the conscience of the ABA. I know we have many partners and allies throughout the ABA, so there's a collective consciousness, but that consciousness originally began with us when we were founded so many years ago. And so with that, I'm going to bid you a farewell. I will not be going far, but I will be the immediate past chair. And I do know in that role, I have two responsibilities: to wake up every day and to remember that I am not the chair. And my second responsibility is to, when called upon, to help guide and support the work of the current chair, which will be Robin Runge. So we look forward to supporting her, and I hope, Robin, whenever you need me, please call on me. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. And with that said, I want to thank again Beth Wittenberry, because she's been an excellent immediate past chair. She did not try to be chair again for another year. I have been in spaces where the immediate past president or immediate past chair seems not to remember that the immediate is part of their title. And when I needed her, I could call on her. She was always a voice of reason and advice. And one of the best things that you do as chair, you call the immediate past chair and you ask them, did you have to do this last year? Yeah, I did too. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to do it myself. So thank you, Beth, for your service to me this year, but also to our bar, and we're going to miss you on the council as immediate past chair. So with that, thank you. Thank you. So with that, I have the honor of asking us to adopt the slate of candidates who were nominated by the nominations committee. I want to thank Mario Sullivan, who chaired our committee this year. Give Mario a hand. And they have selected, obviously, as we know, our secretary moves up every year automatically until they are chair. So the officers that are already in place, the chair, Robin Runge of Washington, D.C., Lacey Durham of Dallas, Texas, Mario Sullivan of Chicago, and we're asking you to select, for the first time, coming to the stage, Paul M. Smith of Washington, D.C. to be our secretary. Our budget officer will be Richard Shoden of Boston, Massachusetts, and then our 3-year council positions, Bobby Bittler, Antonia Fasolini, and Pamela Herndon. The remaining council members are Nadia Ahmad, Daniel Appleman, and Malaya Brink. Right. Is there a motion to accept this slate as officers? So moved. Is there a second? Okay. Any opposition? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? All right, motion passes. You are duly elected. And I have two more things to do before we wrap this up. Yes?
Can I have a point of personal privilege for a moment?
Go right ahead.
First thing I want to say is
are about to say you have been fabulous chair this past year, and all of us are very Thank you. Thank you. I'd also say, so everyone can hear you as well, Sean? Sure. So you can this section and the pro bono effort, I've had the pleasure of working with who's with us right now. I'd like to introduce to you King County Superior Court Judge Sheila. Other half of the couple is Washington State Treasurer Michael Gavel. Thank you, Mark, and welcome. Glad to have you both. And the judge, of course, was the past committee leader of our which committee was it again? Civil Rights. That's right, our Civil Rights Committee. So we're glad to have you. I have two more responsibilities this afternoon before we go back to our formal meeting. You know, you can't do this job without strong, committed, supported staff members. We have two dedicated members of our staff who are present with us today that I want to thank publicly. Now, you know we lost one staff member to law school, but we're going to get her back in a few years. But I want to publicly thank Paula Shapiro and Allie for all that they've done to support me this year, to support our section. They are just tremendous in terms of staying on top of all of the work that we do. And there's just so many things that we do. And I will tell you this very candidly. Other bar leaders across the ABA often say to me, how do you all do all the things you do, the programming, the webinars, the publications, the Human Rights Magazine, the chair chats? It's because of Paul and Allie and Rachika for most of this year. And so we have a small token of appreciation to both of them from the executive committee. Paula and Allie, will you come up, please? Okay. And last but certainly not least, I have the high honor of passing the gavel to the 2023-24 chair of our section. It gives me great delight to share this opportunity to lead this section for one more weekend, I guess. But soon, our new chair, Robin Runge, will lead us into the 24 election season and will lead us in a way that I know we will all be grateful for her service. And I'll just simply say this. All chairs have their different strengths and their weaknesses. And there's no chair that's the same. And there's no chair that's perfect. But all of us come to this job wanting to do the best that we can, committed to the issues that best promote the section, but specifically civil rights and social justice. And so I'm so honored that Robin will take us to the next level. And I think we all should make sure that we support her, her vision, and be a partner with her as we move our section and the ABA forward. Robin, please come.
Oh, wait, we got the photo thing. Hi. Two more, because I'm not a good taker. Sorry, Robin. This is my fake tag. No, go ahead and do that, and then I'll say.
Okay. As I mentioned, all chairs are not perfect. I forgot something. We need to give our Committee of the Year award, named after Sheila Y. Thomas, who would have been chair of this section but for her untimely passing. And so we named this award in her honor, and no relation to me, but I know her work was tremendous and wonderful, and we miss her and all that she stood for on behalf of our profession. So this year we honor a committee that, to no surprise, was a key partner in my work this year as chair. The Economic Justice Summit would not have been possible without the Economic Justice Committee. And so as much as I love all 21 sections, I ask that we honor this year the Economic Justice Committee for all the work they did to promote not only the Economic Justice Summit, but all of the work they did this year to promote economic justice issues throughout our section and the ABA. So I'm going to ask Marilyn and Tonya to come up to get this. Yes, it's well deserved.
Thank you so much. Yes, turn around. Yes.
1, 2, 3. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.
Wonderful.
Well, here, this is for him.
Good. We will give it to Jim.
Okay.
Yes.
So please let us all applaud, and I welcome to this microphone the 2023-24 chair of our section, Robin Runge.
Thank you so much, Juan. Woo, how's that? It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. And as many of you know, I grew up in the ABA. I became a member of this section the year I graduated from law school. And it was a really important part of my development as a lawyer. I wrote an article in the Human Rights Magazine in 1998. Someone from this amazing body reached out to me when I was a baby legal aid lawyer in San Francisco and said, I know what you're doing out there. No one else is doing that, and we think people need to hear about it. And I was like, I just passed the bar. You know, like I literally do not know which end is up. And it was such a wonderful opportunity. I still assign it to my students to this day. And so later I became staff. I was the staff director of the Commission on Domestic Violence. It's now called the Commission on Domestic and Sexual Violence. And friends of mine from that world are here today. And I did that for 6 years. So I mean it when I say I grew up in the ABA. And it's been a privilege to be active again, having left the staff, as a member. And several of you, when I did join all those years ago, and I'm not going to call you out, but there are several of you in the room who welcomed me and mentored me and still do. So it is truly an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you. And Juan, you had an unbelievably amazing year. And I plan to continue to lead us. And my belief is that I'm leading leaders. And so I continue to learn from you. And my approach is one of us all working together and listening and hearing from you what we need to be doing differently and better. My focus really is getting back to what brought me into this section, which is inclusion and intersectionality. I am a public interest lawyer. I said earlier today at our meeting that I raised the money for every job I held for the first 20 years as a lawyer. I have devoted my career to serving people. That's why many of us, if not all of us, went to law school. And this is a part of that service. I am doing this because I want to give back to the section that gave to me. And this is the best way that I can do that. So thank you for entrusting me with this opportunity. Please keep teaching me. I want to keep learning. We can be better. And this is, as we know, one of the scariest moments of our lives. I literally, we are, the world is on fire, literally and figuratively, in the ways that Juan really uplifted. And so our work is more important than ever, and that's reflected in the fact that we remain one of the few sections, if not the only one, and Paula can correct me, that is growing in a time when the larger ABA is struggling in its identity. That is a testament to all of you and to what we stand for. So thank you. And I'm just Robin, right? I'm literally Robin. Like, don't treat me any differently, right? Like, I am Robin. I just gave out my phone number so people could text me to like 5 people here. I'm serious. If there is something we can do better and we need to do, don't call me, but text me. And I will respond. So thank you with deep appreciation to every one of you for this opportunity.
Are you, Robin?
Yes, oh my God.
So like any outgoing chair does, you ask the staff, Paula, anything else before we adjourn?
We're good, we have 30 minutes before we have to
Right.
come back and meet
Right.
the room next door.
So you get a half hour of your life back. See you at 2 o'clock back in the council meeting room. We're adjourned.